So seeing as this is a distilling channel, I should probably have a still, right? Today I want to show you where I'm at with my build, and I want you guys to help me out deciding what I should do and helping me solve a few problems that I'm having. Once I'm done with that, I also want to go through a little bit of a channel update and also go through some of the feedback that you guys are giving me, which I think is really important. Hey guys, I'm Jesse, welcome to Still It. This is the channel all about chasing the craft of home distillation and making it a legitimate hobby. Just in case you're new here, I make videos all about home distillation, so if that's something you're into or something you're passionate about, have a look around and have a think about subscribing. This might just be the channel for you. The channel's been around for a little while now, and to be honest, I'm pretty happy with the way it's going. Thanks especially to you guys for helping out and for watching, obviously. But it is taking a little bit more time out of my life than I thought it would, which is totally cool. I knew it would take time, it's just a little bit more. What it has meant is that I've got way behind on the still build. This whole distilling and still it thing for me is kind of my hobby money and my hobby time. And I've got a lot of other things going on in my life that keep me busy. So the channel's taken precedent and the still build's fallen behind a little bit. I kind of want to change that and get it up to speed. So I figured a really good way to do that would be to show you guys where I'm at and show you some of the difficulties I'm having and get some feedback. From what I've seen so far and from the things you guys have said, there's a bunch of really smart people watching these videos and giving feedback as well. So that'd be awesome. I guess seeing as today's a little less formal, there's one thing I need to do first. Oh, that's good. So the first thing that I actually have done a little bit of work on is the Boka head. I finished this a little while ago, and this is the first thing that I ever soldered. I've never soldered anything before in my life, and the fact that it didn't all just totally fall apart kind of amazes me. But it does seem to be airtight. It's passing the soap bubble test pretty well. The larger tube on this side is for the valve to go into to control the offtake, and the small tube on the other side is for the thermometer to go into. I've got a couple of digital thermometers and thermocouples that fit down there quite tightly. The plates are in place. The one on the bottom does have the notch cut out to send the reflux down the center of the column rather than falling down the outside. The second thing that I've done a little bit of work on is the coil. It's not exactly pretty, as you can see. It's not symmetrical, it's not entirely straight, but it does work. It's not crimped in any place, and it does fit quite nicely inside the top of the Boka head as well. I guess I'm kind of wondering whether I really need a cap on top. Obviously I know that you need to leave it not entirely sealed so that you won't get a pressure build-up, but I don't understand why we need anything on top. I also have a valve to control the offtake. Unfortunately, when I pulled this apart, I found that the needle was not stainless. Everything else is stainless and PTFE gaskets, but the needle itself, I don't know about. I spent a little bit of time machining a second needle out of a stainless steel bolt. It actually worked pretty well. With the Teflon tape on it, I can get it down to a really slow drip, but it doesn't entirely shut off, so I have to decide what to do about that. I also have these two stainless steel condensers. To be honest, I don't know if I'm going to use these. They're quite short. I guess for the Boka still, it's only a secondary condenser, right? I do have some extra copper tubing, so perhaps I'll use that to create another Liebherr condenser with. I've also got a big brew pot that I use for home brewing. Hold on. Dear God. So it does have two electric elements on the bottom, a sight glass and a ball valve. Right now the pot is literally just on and off at the wall with the two elements, so you can have it at 100%, 0% or 50%. Or you can sit there and manually flick it on and off. I'm in the process of building a electric controller based on one of these, little Arduino, and a couple of these SSRs. The benefit in that is that I can literally dial in any percentage of power I want. Cool thing is say you want 75% or 10% or 25%, you can have them switching between each other on different phases, so essentially the phase itself gets shorter. The other cool thing about it is that because it's built on a microcontroller, Arduino, you can do all sorts of crazy things like turn it into basically a small PID to control temperature for you, or build in an electric parrot on the same system. I'm planning on building the entire controller inside an old PC case, which may sound really dumb, but there's a couple of reasons for it. First, it's a case that I can use. I don't have to buy a project box. Second is the power source. I can use that to drive the Arduino and anything else, like perhaps 12 volt LEDs or something if I want to add them in as well. And third, God, I almost forgot. I've also got plenty more of the 50mm copper tubing, and I have a couple of the tri-clamps to kind of make everything into a bit of a Lego Frankenstein, I guess, so I can put it together and take it apart as I want. I like the idea of later on being able to switch parts in and out for each other, perhaps put on a different head, you know, use the same setup but in pot still mode, or, you know, like actually a true pot still, not just a Boka in pot still mode. So these I think are really cool. And I guess the last thing I've got was actually the first thing ever donated to Still It. It is a cheap Chinese pot still. This is actually pretty cool, to be honest. I don't know exactly what I'm going to do with it. Someone that I learned very quickly to respect and listen to them when they told me something. I'm not going to mention their name, but I will have a quick chug to honor them. Suggested that I use it as a gin still, which to me really makes a whole lot of sense when I think about it, to do just small runs of a specific gin once I already have a whole lot of neutral sitting around. Yeah, that could be kind of helpful later on. I haven't got around to running it as it is right now. Call me romantic or whatever, but I kind of want my first time to be with my Boka. So the plan I had, probably up until about a fortnight ago, was basically to attach one of these ferrules to the top of the brew pot lid, use the brew pot as my boiler, and then attach the copper column to that, and then of course attach the Boka head to the top of the column, all using tri-clamps. Now the biggest problem I have with all of that is the brew pot. One, attaching either a ferrule or the copper column to the top of the lid. I don't have a TIG set up. That could be a little bit tricky or expensive, I guess. And the second is trying to seal that to the brew pot every time I want to make a run. That's big, man. That's like 40 centimeters, and I guess I could use flour and water, but dude, that's it's gonna get pretty old pretty quick, I think. So I'm not sure about that. If you have suggestions, let me know about either attaching the column to the lid or about sealing the lid to the brew pot if you've got some other ideas. I don't want to use silicone. The second problem I'm having is figuring out how to attach this to this. It does kind of fit on there relatively snug, so I had thought about literally just getting some decent liquid flux and having a crack at soldering it on there, see what happens. The other thing I'm not quite sure what to do is how to attach that to the condenser, depending on what I use. That is 10mm, and I can't find any copper threaded fittings at 10mm, so I'm not sure what to do. Still thinking on that one. So like I said, that was the plan. A while back, someone that I respect and who I've learnt gives awesome feedback suggested that I ditch the idea of using the brew pot boiler and just buy a keg, which kind of makes a whole lot of sense. And the more I think about it, the more it makes sense. I don't have to worry about attaching a ferrule to the top of the brew pot. I don't have to worry about sealing the brew pot. It's already done. I can build from the boiler up exactly the same as I would have. And instead of going electric, I can just use gas for now. I do already have a gas burner. In some ways, it makes a whole lot of sense. I guess the only downside is I do kind of like electric. I used to brew with gas. I didn't enjoy it. I didn't like it, mostly because I'm lazy. And I forgot to fill the bottle. But hey, the bonus is that if I just invest in the keg and get a keg, I can then upgrade to electric later on, and I would have an electric brew pot and an electric boiler. What do you guys reckon? If I had a spare electric brew pot, how would I utilize that for distilling? So I'm really keen to hear what everyone else thinks about the whole brew pot versus keg idea. I have a sneaky suspicion I know exactly what you guys are all going to say, but I am going to stick a poll up top, so let me know what you think. If you want to elaborate, drop some comments down below. Alright, so that's where I'm at with my build. If you're in a similar situation, let me know. If you're thinking of building something, drop some comments down below. Like I said, there's lots of other people that watch these videos and that are in these communities that can really help you guys out too. They've been helping me out, so thank you for everyone that's done that. You're absolutely amazing. So now I want to go through a little bit of feedback that you guys are giving me, which I think's really important, that you keep doing it because it's gonna help still it get better, and that I acknowledge that it's important to me, and thank you for helping me out. Just so you know, I'm not gonna put any screenshots of comments from anywhere but YouTube up on screen, simply because I don't know if people over there want their comments being shown here due to privacy and copyright issues from the other sites. The thing that's come up in the forums a couple of times is basically this channel may not be such a great idea because I don't have any experience. And you know what? You're right. I don't. But I think I've done a pretty good job of being open about that. And I think it's an opportunity. I think it's something cool. I think that this channel can be about us learning together if you're new, and you helping other people understand things that you know, and even learning different things that may be slightly different to what you do on a regular basis. That's what I want this channel to be about, and I think that that could be something kind of special. But you know what? I think it raises a good point. Because I don't have a whole lot of experience, I run the risk of saying something that's going to make someone else do something silly. Luckily, we've already got the safeguard I talked about before. You guys call me out as soon as you see any BS. 2, any video that has a practical application to it, I'm going to add a line into that basically says, make sure you check all your information before you act on anything. Another thing that keeps popping up is starting to creep me out a little bit. You guys seem a little bit obsessed with my beard. And no, it's not an ISIS beard. Wait, shit, it's not an ISIS beard, right? Over on YouTube, I've had plenty of comments that are pretty helpful too. Comments that are kind of encouraging me to be better, like this one. You better not be messing with Big Bird, Mark, because I grew up on that shit. Seriously, dude, yeah, I hear you. A couple other people that I'm kind of close to have given me something similar to that in feedback. I kind of wonder if it's maybe because I script the other videos. So let me know if you think this one's a little bit better, if you think I'm a little more chill. I've also been getting heaps of really encouraging feedback on the YouTube videos like this. Thanks a bunch, dude. It means a lot. By the way, guys, this dude's just started a YouTube channel as well. It's not exactly distilling centric, but it is going to have some really cool distilling stuff on it. Like, for example, malting corn, if you're allowed to do that where you're from. I'll chuck a link down below for Bearded and Bored. Check it out. It's pretty cool stuff. But really, guys, I know the kind of critical feedback information is what I guess helps me to improve. But this sort of stuff's really encouraging as well. It's nice to know that I'm doing something right and that people out there want to watch it. I mean, there's always the people that are just going to have to be the class clown too. You can't have a nice thing without people like this coming along and ruining it. But seriously, guys, thanks for dropping a comment. It really helps the channel out, so thank you. And of course, we're starting to get people requesting topics, which is really, really cool. Right now, I've got more than I can possibly handle, but in the very near future, I'm going to start running out. So thank you guys. It's awesome to see what you want, and it's really cool that you're giving me ideas on topics to cover. Thank you. Well, that went a little bit longer than I had anticipated, but thanks for watching, guys. I really, really appreciate it. Like I said before, I love all the feedback and the interaction that I'm getting. So thanks a bunch. If you dig what I'm doing, don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to leave me a comment knowing what you think about my builds and what I'm doing with the channel. Let me know if you've got any suggestions, and I'll catch you next time. Thanks, guys. See ya.